Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with a craft with me. Basically, we're going to be doing a collage masterboard. In my Beloved Beauty Monthly for the month of March, I asked the subscribers to leave a comment about what they would like to see on the channel, and a couple of them are coming into play for this idea. So I had one person that said she would love to learn more about making masterboards, and so I thought we'd go ahead and give it a try. I will, full disclosure, this is take 2. In the first video, it was a disaster because I used this adhesive called Nori, and it is so wet that it just sopped my paper, and it made the paper translucent, so when it overlaid, you could see the edges of the paper underneath. It looked terrible, and I can't do it. So I decided I would go ahead and come back and try again. I'm just going to use a glue stick. We might do some matte medium over the top, we might not. We'll see how it goes, but we're going to do a little bit of a series here, a couple of videos, or 3 videos maybe. In this one, we're going to go ahead and glue all the papers down. I'll talk to you about my thought process, how I decide what papers to choose, how I lay them out, how I try to pick things that are going to go well together, and how I choose tones of paper, because an interesting masterboard has different tones of paper. You know, your light brown, your really, really old, your white, and all those kinds of things. Now, I did use a lot of my scraps in the other one, so I'm going to pull over some of these off casts from the other one, and we'll go on. So yeah, it was bad. And if I have to, I can tap into my I've got some folders over there with more scraps. These are mostly from Ruby and Pearl, my Ruby and Pearl scrap envelope, as well as some vintage book pages and music pages from my stash. So let's go ahead and get going. I'm going to go ahead and just get these out of my way a little bit. And I'm just putting this on a 12 by 12 piece of white scrapbook paper. Sorry about the focus. The camera does not like white. And so we're going to go ahead again. We're going to get all the papers on, and then sometimes I'll go over the edges, so I will pause and dry and then cut those edges off, so you can actually see what it looks as a 12 by 12 square. You could also do this on 8.5 by 11 paper. My goodness, that focus is driving me crazy. That 8.5 by 11 standard copy paper you could also use. You're just going to not get as many elements out of it. So I'm not sure how many layers we're going to go. We're going to start with the paper layer, and then we'll evaluate whether or not that's enough, or if we like it, and then we'll add it. So I'm going to go ahead and get going. And I'm going to start with my glue stick, a brand new one. My other one got really, really gunky. I do not like glue sticks, guys. I'm telling you right now. Ugh, I do not like them. Whoops. I feel like do I want to bring in some of the florals first? Yeah, I think so. So I'm just going to rough tear this. And the rougher your edge, the better in terms of the visual interest, I think. I don't like any straight edges, so I'm just going to do that. And so I will be speeding this up at points, but you'll be seeing that. I generally try to stick to coordinating color tones, or being able to pull out a color that's already in the masterboard scraps. So because we've got blue here, I can safely bring this in and have it not look, you know, completely weird. So that's kind of my thinking around that. So I think I'll go down here to the bottom corner. The other thing that was shared in the comments was, you know, kind of what kinds of things do you do when you have a block, a creative block. And collage masterboards, or collaging, is one of those things that I do. And so this is an excellent option for when you just don't know what you want to do. So I generally don't have, you know, the florals touching each other, so I would leave a gap there just because that will allow me a place to put some of the other papers that we've got going on here. Now this I had pulled out for the other one, but it didn't really work because I didn't have blue, but I think it would be fine in this one. So we're going to wait on that though and get a little bit more floral interest here. So I'm just trying to find another piece of flower. I'm sticky because of that glue. Ugh, that was terrible. Terrible, terrible. Oh, I'll never do that again. So I think I'm going to make this one a little bit rougher on this edge. And I'm going to get that sticky part off, and I'm going to come, let's see if we can make that a little more interesting. I'm going to kind of come off the page here. Kind of spreading out those florals, and that color, those pops of color are really pleasing and important. You know what? Maybe I want to go this way. I think I want to go this way just because of the way the flower is setting. So let's just do that. Change of plans. So okay. And we can bring, oh, we've got some more of this one. Would be nice to bring another piece of this in as well, because again, bringing more of that blue in is always a good idea. So, and you can see I'm spreading out the different flowers so they're not all in one place. So let's just get that one on there, and we'll get this little piece over here, kind of like so. And again, leaving room for the other pages, the script and the book page and all of that stuff. So I'm feeling like I need to grab some bigger pieces of paper for the script paper, so that we can cover up some of these bigger parts of the masterboard that are white currently. So tear this down. Because you don't have to worry, you can layer on top of these pieces. It doesn't have to be all like everything's touching and meeting. You can continue to fill in until you have everything on it that you want. And so I'm just going to kind of come down here on this blue paper. I don't think I did enough glue down here though, so let me fix that. Okay. Let's see. And that glue was terrible because it made the ink run on my digitals, on these prints, like I have never seen before. And I was just, my hands were wet. I couldn't get a hold of anything because everything was so wet. And every time I went to reach for another piece of paper, my hands were, it wasn't terribly sticky, but it was very, very wet. And I didn't like that. So we're going to continue with the book page here for another bit of time here, and then we will move on to some of the other elements. I'm just going to grab another piece of this book page. In case I forgot to mention, these are mostly scraps from my Ruby and Pearl bag of scraps, so that digitals. So there are no rules to masterboard creating. I would encourage you not to get too busy. And I also, visually as an artist, I don't think that when you churn things like this, when you churn script like this, it just doesn't, there's just something about it that makes it look really, really strange. So I don't do that. Of course, you can do what you like, but I think it looks off. It looks off to me, but that again, that's me, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to agree with that or anything. It's just my opinion. So let's go ahead and get some of this blue in. This is really pretty. Oh yeah. Shall we let's find a place where it will go a little bit better here. So maybe right there. I'm covering up that blue though. I don't want to do that. So let's go up here. Let's go up here in this corner. So I think as you move through this, you can kind of trust your eye. So there, I was feeling like that paper just didn't go. And so I'm changing my mind, and I'm going to bring in this piece here. Because this is that really, really old paper. Book page is really bold. And I think it needs to be maybe in smaller pieces, to not be too overwhelming. So I'm going to try that and see if I feel different. Now I don't mind turning words sideways, but I don't like to make them diagonal. So I hope that makes some sense to you guys, but we will continue on. Kind of hard to describe how you know if something looks right or not, or looks pleasing to you, but it comes with experience, and it also comes with not overthinking, trying to just have a play, see what happens. If you get too tied up in critiquing what you're doing, you're gonna be stuck. So that would be my advice. I think I need to tear this one down because I want it in 3 different areas. So how about right there? So how are you guys doing today? It's March 2nd and we had snow again. It's just so weird. It's like so weird. I mean, we do get snow at this time, but it's more rare than normal. So, but it's been snowing this morning. I think it's stopped, but so see that pop of blue and how it pulls the blue out of those little florals. These probably could be a little bit closer, but in the end, it's going to be fine because it's all going to be torn up. So the other thing you want to do is bring in, if I didn't mention it before, different tones of paper. So if you're using script, pull in some really stark colors, like this white is really beautiful. And it could go like that and be really nice, but I don't want too much script on script there. So I'm going to avoid that and see where else this could potentially go. I think it could go right there, break up that blue a little bit. You can also put the glue on the back of your paper, which would probably be a better idea because you can actually see, you're not getting glue on your base where you don't necessarily need it. So I think we'll kind of divide that up there a little bit. Yeah, perfect. And then let's get this other piece. I've got another one, so I tend to work in 3s because I am an artist, and so I tend to think that way. They say that, and I believe it's true, that working in 3s is more pleasing to the person who's looking at your work. So, and I believe that to be true. So maybe we'll come down here. I think I need to get a little bit more flower in there, so maybe we'll put this down here. This is going much better than the first try on this video. I don't usually trash videos, you guys, but I couldn't even like pick it up off of my desk. It was like, I felt like it was going to fall apart in my hands. It was terrible, terrible, terrible. So I will not be using that glue for that purpose again. So I was mentioned in the video that I trashed that I actually saw Stephanie over at Hilltop View Creations use it, and she just raved about it. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try. I'm always looking for a good a good collage adhesive, but oh my goodness, it was terrible. Terrible. Okay, I think we need a little bit more of this. So I hope you guys can see what I'm talking about. We've got white, white, white. We've got flower, 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 flower. They're spread out. We've got blue, 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 blue. We've got vintage, vintage, vintage. So now we want to bring some of this vintage down to the bottom to kind of even things out. Now it gets a little tricky because you get script on script, and then that can sometimes look terrible. So I think I'm going to turn it this way. Well, let me do it on the back of this instead. See if I can make sure I get it covered, and then I'm just going to turn it this way. And we'll probably have to throw a little something something right there to cover that spot that's not doesn't have anything on it. I like to not have any white in terms of the base. So we've got some other, so I feel like that, I think we need, whoops, what happened here? What happened there? I think we need one more of that really vintage paper like this down here for some reason. Maybe off the edge here. Yeah, right there. Got this edge up. We'll cut off anything that's hanging over the side here in a moment. So this book, whoever owned this book, they made coloring pages. It's really, really old. This book is really, really old. But look at that. That's the back of that book page. I think it's just so precious. Every time I see it, it makes me smile. So I like that right there. Okay, so let's come in with some other stuff. So we've got, what else do we have left? I've just used so much of it in the one that failed. I don't want to cover up too much of that, so I don't think that's going to work. And what about this one? I don't know. This is a thicker paper too, which I'm tending to not want to use because it's different. But I did mention that I want to bring some flat floral down here, so maybe we'll use some of this. It's not as bright in tone as some of the others. Oh, I have another piece of this. This would be better because again, it's in line with what we're already using. If you can do that, do it. But if you're just trying to use your scraps, don't overthink it. I love that right there because that's gonna go into that that blue. So I'm just gonna make that edge a little bit rougher, and I'm just gonna take off a little bit off this edge because I don't want to cover all that script because it's beautiful, that white paper. And I might get out my vintage collage medium. It's like the last of it I have in my bottle from Tim Holtz. I did a video on how you can make your own, so I'll try to remember to link that in the description box if you guys want to check it out. I feel like that's a lot better in terms of floral in this right now, so that's good. So we have some of this music paper I would also like to bring in. So let's see what we've got. I've got just pieces here, so I'm going to have to kind of piece it together. I honestly do not know how people work with glue sticks all the time. I do not like glue sticks at all. I think I've mentioned that a time or two. And so I love what's happening here. So you're probably wondering, like, why am I covering up all those flowers? Because sometimes the mystery of what peeks through in little spaces like that is perfect. It's perfect. So I love it. So I'm going to continue on. We've got a bunch of holes to fill in. I'm just going to let you go ahead and watch while I continue. inserting words as elements all on their own is also really really pleasing in a collage masterboard. So because if I put it right here, well, you want to kind of have it over something that's more contrasty like that, because otherwise it's not going to really show. But let's go ahead and put that there, because I'm running out of paper over here because I wasted so much on that failed one. So I'm trying to not pull out a bunch more. So and that will cover up that little spot. So memoir there, and then we can go and use some of the other script that I can see over here beside me. It's kind of out of view for you, but I have it. So let's see what else we've got. I didn't really get to the bottom of the pile. Oh, we've also got this. This would be really pretty to introduce as well. I think I've got 3 pieces of this somewhere. Yeah, there's another one. So let's see what this would look like to introduce this tone. I don't know if I love that idea or not. I think it's good because it's yet another tone of color that could help break up some of this area here. I'm not sure if I like that. I don't know. Not feeling it. Not feeling it. Yeah, let's just do it there. Again, you know, talking to myself, right? Preaching to the choir. Don't overthink it. So as this process goes along, you're going to see that no matter what your masterboard consists of, once you cut it up, it's like giving it a whole new life, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So please don't do what I'm doing at moments here on this video. Just embrace the process and trust that it's going to be really, really beautiful. So you do want to be watching your script as well, and make sure that you don't have anything that you don't want to see. Like this one has hogsheads in it. I don't like that. So I'm kind of looking at this as a last sweep here and making sure that I don't have anything that I don't like. So I am going to bring in something to kind of take away from that. And the separation of these edges is we're going to be able to accentuate those here in a moment. So I'm just going to place that over there and cover up hogsheads. And then I'm going to need to bring something in there as well, because that is just not pleasing. I always forget to check that, so that would be a good piece of advice for you, so you don't do what I do here. And I'm trying to find one more thing that can go in here to cover up that. How about this word floors, however you say that in French. Just need a little piece. Cover up hogsheads. Go away, hogsheads. There we go. All right. So we need another piece here and here. So I'm going to finish up and I'll be right back. Boy, I am having trouble just finishing this up. I'm not sure what my problem is, but I need something right there. Oh my goodness. It needs to be, it just feels like I've got so much script going on in that area that I'm trying to think of something different to put there, but I don't really have anything within reach here. Let me try, oh, this would probably work. I've got another piece of this. Let's do that. Again, I don't like the edges to be even. I like them to be torn, and that white core is not going to show when we're done, so trust me. See, it's just such a strange little area. I just don't even know what to do with it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What am I going to do? Okay, let's just go for the gusto here. I do not usually have trouble, you guys, with masterboards. This is ridiculous. My ambiguity here. Okay, so there we go. So let me get some of these scraps out of my way. Get my glue capped up. I'm going to throw the cap on the floor, and it goes under the table, so that will wait until later. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the edges. And then we'll do one more thing before I let you go. So I just turn it over, and I just, because I like to see it actually look square. That's just me. So I'm just going to trim off those rugged edges. Okay. Get all those extra pieces. It changes the look of it when you're looking at it as a square. Okay, there we go. See how that changes it just by it not having all those weird edges. So I'm going to reach behind me and see if I've got any of that vintage collage medium. I think I do. See if we have enough. They are no longer making this, but you can make it using that medium and some. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to grab, I need to grab my my ink, so hold on. So what you want to do is you're going to take your, you need some re-inker, Distress ink, re-inker. This is Vintage Photo. And I'm going to grab a plate here out of my drawer so that I have something to mix it on. And some matte medium. I'm going to reach behind me. The collaging went faster than I thought, so that's why we're moving on to this step. So I'm going to just peel that off, and I'm going to, I can't remember what the formula is. It doesn't take very much of the re-inker, so I'm just going to reach for another brush here. And I'm hoping you guys can see everything that I've got going on here. And I'm going to start with just one drop of the Vintage Photo. And it's going to colorize our matte medium and give it that vintage look. I like mine to be a little bit browner than that. So I'll probably, oh, I don't know. It's looking pretty good. And so this is going to serve two purposes. It's going to seal the top of this, and it's also going to give us a little bit of vintage grunge. So I'm just going to roll my sleeve up there and go ahead and give a coat of this over the whole thing. It's going to make it more vintagey because we added the Vintage Photo ink. But I personally like that. So, and it's also going to help us get rid of those white core pieces that we see from tearing the paper. So this combination is really affordable, guys. You can get, I use Liquitex Fluid Matte Medium, but they have a more cheaper brand that's also Liquitex. So I'll try to remember to link the other option, because the regular stuff that I use does tend to be a little bit more expensive than the other stuff. So we're getting a completely different look here, right, by using this medium over the top. And then I'll show you one more step. We'll dry this and I'll come back and show you one more step to really make the edges, well, they're looking pretty good in terms of where those pages are meeting together. They are, it's really vintagey, isn't it? Of course, you would not need to vintage it up if that's not your style. I can only share what I do, what I love. If I try to force myself to do something that doesn't resonate with me, it doesn't go well. So I will try to always give you options for what you can do if you don't like the vintage look. You could have just left it like it is. And one of the things that I do, which I'll show you when this is dry, is I go over it with my makeup brush, makeup sponge, and some Vintage Photo archival ink. For some reason that's like pulling up the paper. That's such an interesting look. Maybe it's going under the paper since we use glue stick. I'm not sure. This is going to be gorgeous though. Okay. So I'm going to take a moment and dry this, and I will be right back. Okay, so I do want to kind of step back and talk to you a little bit about what I was saying earlier about having the different tones of paper. So we had, this was completely white, this was white. So if you were to do this coating, that's null and void, right? You wouldn't have to worry about the tones of your paper. If that's the case and you want to do the vintage look, use just different fonts. So we've got this font, we've got this font, we've got this font, we've got this font. So that all makes interest on the masterboard. So if you didn't want to do the vintage thing, use your different tones or different colors of paper. But if you're going to do this, don't worry about the tones as much as the kinds of different script and stuff that you get. So this is mostly dry. I'm not too worried about it. I've got my Vintage Photo archival ink, and I use this makeup brush for this application, or when I'm doing like stenciling. So I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to go over all of this, because it's going to help to catch on all the edges, and it's going to add another layer of grunge. It's also going to catch on the wrinkles that were created from the glue. So that's kind of a neat thing. I always do this with my master boards. Of course, you don't have to, but I love, it makes it look really old, because again, you're capturing the different the textures that have been created by the overlapping papers and by, again, the glue wrinkles that we get. So this is very grungy, but it's going to be gorgeous. And I'll hold it up for you here in a second. And then in the next video, we'll cut them up, and we'll probably do some sewing around them, and we'll make some tags. We'll see how much we can get done in a video. We might get this done in 2 videos. We'll see how it goes, but that's what you get. Look at that. So you can see up here, we've got wrinkles from the glue, and you can actually use that to your advantage, right, by creating some interest. And I'm going to press those down a little bit to see if it'll stick, but we still have the ink lines, which make it really cool. And then you can see that by going around it with a sponge, we get a little bit of a dark frame around where the pieces were all connecting and touching. So you do lose with this, as I mentioned, not only with the white, but also with the varying colors here of the different backgrounds of the florals. It's kind of all making them look like they go together because of the Vintage Photo color. So that's, again, totally up to you, but I will be back in the next video, and oh, see, like this one was that dot paper, and you can't even see the dots. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? So I'll be back in video 2 to continue. Thanks so much for stopping by. Take care. Bye-bye.